Sorry, man. I was trying to knock on a door back there, but you don't have a door.
Knock it down.
And welcome back here at On Deck here with me, Charles Prodigy Richey, on this primetime edition right now. As you guys can follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Prodigy Richey. For the Men of Steel podcast on Twitter, it is simply again at Men of Steel CJR and at Men of Steel Nation on Instagram right now. We're getting ready to talk NFL extra points right now. And right now, one of the guys who's coming into this year's draft seemed to make a little bit of a controversial comment in an interview he did earlier in the week. Projected number first round overall pick in this year's draft, who people are anticipating, Trevor Lawrence of Clemson right now. Now, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, who seems to be like a stud in college, getting ready to take on the NFL right now. Remember, he was already doing, his practice and stuff. And you look at this guy's career right now with Clemson, as far as everything. He's threw for 10,098 yards in his 3 years there, having 90 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and a career completion percentage of 66.6 overall. And which is pretty darn impressive. The only thing is, right now, when you look at it, with him, with a guy like Trevor Lawrence right now, is that the biggest thing is right now, one of the guys who's coming into this year right now, there seems to be a little bit of confidence issue going on. And the thing is, with that, are we really sure? Our team's gonna pass up on him as a number one pick. Right now, one of the comments he was making too, when you looked at it, with Trevor Lawrence, is that he possibly has a chip on his shoulder regarding his claim that he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't feel any pressure to win a Super Bowl because, according to one of his high school trainers that he played with when he was in high school, he said he could walk away from his career tomorrow, right now. And you know what? The thing is, listen, how's it going, DJ? Nice to see you on here. Perhaps we'll try and get back together at some point, but I'm not so sure if he's going to be, falling past top three. I think I agree with that. But I'll be honest with you right now, number one overall pick, I know the New York Jets right now, who, remember, I think they finished the season with 2 wins, this past year. When you look at it, they had their hearts set on a guy like Trevor Lawrence. And right now you no longer have Adam Gase. He's moved on. They finished 2-14. The number one overall pick will be owned this year by the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1-15. And to be honest here right now, listen, I think no matter how much skilled you are, I need to make sure you're playing with confidence right now. I don't want you to have hesitation coming into this league. The thing is, I really do believe today's generations of athletes, there seems to be a little pushback as far as how much pressure they feel comfortable they want to answer to. When you look at everything going on, when we take superstar teams out of the equation, people want to play with their friends or whatever. Listen, that has nothing to do with that, but I do believe a guy like Trevor Lawrence, listen, he's got some stuff he needs to prove. Last thing you want to do is create doubt in the team executive's mind and a coach. You draft them first overall, and then times get going. There's gonna be guys who are gonna be wanting to be having playoff success, but championship success at the end of the day. Shannon Sharp had every right to slam into a guy like Lawrence here on Undisputed a couple days ago with Skip Bayless. And I definitely do feel like right now, you have to be very watchful of that. The only problem is right now with it, I truly believe, like, aside from your skill level, you have to show me great IQ, knowledge of the game, how you evaluate. I mean, what's going to happen if he gets drafted and how he handles adversity in the NFL? It's always one thing to do it in college, but to transition it into the pro level. I mean, look at a guy like Dwayne Haskins right now. I mean, who, when you look at like his career, who's just starting off right now, and he's going over to the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, not kind of against their salary cap, but he was a first round pick, 15th overall, selected by the Washington football team in 2019. And he's had a lot of off field issues, not concentrating as much. I mean, throwing for 2,804 yards in his 2 years there, 12 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Now, listen, I know he's like nowhere on the level like what a guy like Trevor Lawrence is, but you also got to look at it too. Where's your head at right now? I mean, I understand. I mean, we got a lot of stuff we got to deal with outside of the game. But when you're being counted on as not only as a teammate, but as a leader of a team, you're being counted on to show some growth, show some humility, show some humbleness, and to share a vision with your team. And not just share a vision, but beyond, like your organization. You cannot be falling asleep at the wheel with this. And we look at some other quarterback, prospects around Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you look at Zach Wilson too. I mean, a guy, Brigham Young right now, he's threw for 7,652 yards in 3 seasons with 56 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. But another guy too, I gotta be honest with you, to keep an eye on, a guy who's expected to be projected between the second and fourth round, Mac Jones. Mac Jones right now, Adam Schefter really likes this guy a lot. And he was talking on the 49ers podcast right now. And you take a look at it. I mean, he definitely seems to feel like right now that he's got elite accuracy, according to Schefter, who, by the way, could be followed on Twitter and Instagram at Adam Schefter. He's an elite processor, and he's got elite leadership skills. Those were his exact words. He said that he's a higher on draft boards, more highly rated than fans believe he is. And he also goes on to say, I like to go to people whose opinion I respect, ask them their opinions, see what they say, and keep compiling those opinions, Schefter said. What I've heard about Mac Jones so far is pretty strong, pretty favorable. Hello, Ryan Pace, if you're listening. I mean, who's been pretty aggressive in the draft. Of course, a lot of people are always going to have a little bit of hesitation, what he did 4 years ago. When you trade up one spot to draft a guy like Mitch Trubisky, I mean, not even talking to Patrick Mahomes, but I mean, you do look at a guy like Deshaun Watson, you move up one spot ahead of the 49ers, he gets taken second in the draft, and miss out on not only Mahomes but Watson. I think right now, I mean, you look at this past year's Super Bowl, to be honest with you, I'm going to say this. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, as long as you have a real good defense, still going to have a legit running game. But you know what? This whole thing about mobile quarterbacks winning Super Bowls, when you take a look at it, I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, when you take a look at it, I mean, for the most part, as far as mobile quarterbacks, I mean, right now, I mean, when you look at guys who have won Super Bowls, in their careers, it's super rare at that time. If you think about it, the top 10 leaders as far as mobile quarterbacks and rushing yards leaders, and when you look at it within like the past, let's just say 3 decades, like last 30 years, the guys who have won Super Bowls have been beginning with Steve Young back in the Super Bowl 29 in 1995. Then you had John Elway winning his first in 1998, finally having a legit running game with Terrell Davis. Still have very good defense on the opposite side, but Mike Shanahan I think, was a big difference maker to help, Elway be more aware and help push him a little bit harder to go for the knockout punch of his career. Remember, he went 0-3 before ending his career with back-to-back Super Bowls, upsetting the defending Super Bowl champions, Green Bay Packers. Then later on, you had Aaron Rodgers back in 2011 versus Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 45 and AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Yeah, he hasn't been to the Super Bowl since. When you really think about it. But at the same time, too, right now, the guy who has a 1-3 record, in the NFC Championship games, has not gotten back to the Super Bowl since that time. He was still able to win one. He's only got one, and then you got Russell Wilson in 2013. Riding the wheel of a Legion of Boom defense, having a good running game, and Marshawn Lynch. He was another African American right now, other than a white quarterback, to win a Super Bowl, which was historically great. This guy was an MVP candidate this past season. And if you look at their marriage possibly coming to an end in due time from the Seattle Seahawks. And that's why I just really feel like this notion right now, it rarely happens. Well, that just goes to show you right there. 4 guys in the top 10 who are the NFL leaders in rushing yards at the quarterback position, only 4 of those guys has had Super Bowl success. Again, that's Russell Wilson, Steve Young, John Elway, and Aaron Rodgers. And that's why I really just think, because I think Mac Jones could be that guy for the Bears. Yeah, you got Andy Dalton, who I think is going to be provide tremendous leadership, great continuity. But at the same time, too, right now, I really like Jones right now. And even for like a team like my Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they're not going to take a quarterback. If anything, it's probably like a 40% chance they do. But their issues are still running game, offensive tackle, edge rusher. And plus, too, there's still a possibility of a guy like Ben Roethlisberger at the end of the day, he could play beyond this past season, which I would not be surprised. I do realize the fact, too, when you look at this past season, with him hardly having any rest, a year ago, trying to build back his arm strength, and he's never been, like the same guy throwing past 5 yards. A lot of people would argue how much was that his lack of mobility or not having a very cordial enough offensive line. Well, let's see what happens this year. His agent Ryan Toller's did a very good job convincing him to stay around. With Art Rooney, at the end of the day, when you got a franchise Super Bowl quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, mainly because of 2 great defenses he had, I will say that Super Bowl 43, in my opinion, was one where he legitimately won. And right now, that's what the Bears need to be asking themselves, looking hard in the mirror. If anything, I'm not going to compare this guy to Tom Brady. Mac Jones, hell no on that. But sometimes, like the littlest things like this, I mean, still be able to pass in the pocket. I don't need you to be a rushing leader, but to avoid pressure is great. But just enough. I mean, look at a guy like Donovan McNabb. Don McNabb, who's still not anywhere near Hall of Fame consideration. But I mean, look at the Eagles right now. I'll put Don McNabb ahead of guys any day of the week. Money on it, above guys like Carson Wentz, Nick Foles. I do not give a damn about Nick Foles like delivering a Super Bowl while Wentz was out, having a good defense. Yeah, he did the Philly special, but at the same time too, Don McNabb was more durable. He had more better longevity than those guys put together. He is without question, I think, one of the many examples right there. A guy who could be elusive, very frustrating to take down, and can make some very dangerous plays with his feet as well as his passing. McNabb, I think, was one of the recent examples too. I mean, yeah, you could probably argue Colin Kaepernick, which we'll get to a little bit later. But at the end of the day, Colin Kaepernick, listen, he did start to deteriorate a little bit. He only had, realistically, 3 good seasons. Let's be honest. I know he's been trying to bring a lot of awareness to communities, just like how Dwayne Wade is trying to do with the Utah Jazz. But at the end of the day, right now, with Kaepernick, he's got what he's wanted as far as like getting his money back. He has opportunity to come back in the league, and I think he kind of blew it, to be honest with you. But Bears, I'm telling you right now, you need to look Ryan Pace. You need to look at Mac Jones. I think you still have a solid running game. The only problem is right now is Matt Nagy. Is he going to be hard-headed enough once again where he's going to go back to the offensive play calling no matter who he gets and get in the way of that success? You have to be very concerned with that as Bears fans. Laser, who I thought did a real good job last season trying to help that cause, but we'll only find out as time moves along.
Looking to stay in the drive?
So we're going to go ahead and hit this break real quick. When we come back, we're going to finish up with Brett Favre's comments.
We'll keep you in sync with all your latest.
And then pro football talk right now. How inevitable is it we'll see the end of off-season voluntary workouts and training camps? Will it be ended altogether in due time? You'll find out my answer as you're watching and listening to On Deck here. Lee Charles and Prodigy Richey. Don't move a muscle.
He's got it. That's a winner.